See that? That's a micro layout. I want to do a whole episode on micro layouts. These are less than 2 feet by 3 feet or 2 feet by 4 feet. N scale HON3. I went to the ON3 meet up in Temecula and saw some of the coolest looking railroads. It was so like they're very tall. They're very small, but they look like the Calico Mine Train at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yep.
Which I loved as a kid. I still love to this day. All right, where are we at? What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Timmy D. That is Evan Gerdes. You're listening or watching the Railroads Rock podcast. And if you're watching, we are watching the... Evan, talk to me. This is
the Chicago racetrack, so the BNSF Chicago subdivision.
And the name of the video is Chicagoland Rail Fanning, March and April of 2013. And it is Trains of Chicagoland is the YouTube video things. Trains of Chicagoland and something. But we'll post the link down in the information section. What are we looking at here right now? That looks like a Norfolk Southern train.
This is an NS and BNSF transfer train here. It's an ethanol, so they do straight ethanol and coal transfer trains.
A lot of that out of the Midwest.
That's correct. This is the BNSF Cicero Yard.
I get a lot of people asking me because they never... I mean, it's easy to look up, but they go, why is there always a hopper or two hopper cars before all the tank cars on every train?
So that would be a buffer car. So there's, for certain types of flammable liquids, depends on how many buffer cars you need between the locomotives, which are, combustible, and the liquids that are combustible.
Filled with?
I'm pretty
Water?
sure just something bulk and heavy. I don't know about water because it would slosh, but probably
sand.
Yeah, sand.
Genius.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's looking
Chicago
like
Metro.
That's a westbound rush hour train express looking by it. Yep.
Did you ever have to talk to those guys?
I used to ride this train actually. Yeah. So the Metro guys. So this is the Metro BNSF guys. I have never seen a passenger outfit operated as crazily as these guys. 714. I have a sore spot for any of the 711 through 718 blue, silver, and red -9s because those are the trains I ran down the San Joaquin Valley. This kid is literally filming this through the hole in a fence. He's doing a good job, though, for the most part. Oh, it's starting to snow. I remember that very clearly. Wow, look at old school Suburban. Old school BNSF, the Tony Anderson logo. And this dude is just through this chain link fence like a boss.
There we go. There's the yard. Look at that. That's a Jeep 39.
Wow.
That's like a rebuilt Jeep. It's like a Jeep 38 it's a Jeep 38 on like a Jeep 35 body. There's a bunch of empties.
Yeah.
There's a bare table.
Did you know that BNSF has 3 yards in Chicago, and this is the only one that handles mixed merchandise?
Quick lingo talk. When you say the word bare table, what is that reference to?
The cars you see in front of us right here. So empty container on flat cars and trailer on flat cars.
Yeah. Or just flat cars. That could be a bare table too, yeah. But generally, it is empty container cars.
Bare table is
TOFC.
just a slang
trailer
word
on
for,
flat car. There's an what do you call that?
Like left-hand signal sign.
Acronym.
That's cool. That's
I guess
cool.
you would say.
Yes.
TOFC. So trailer on flat car. Look at that.
Yeah.
That Metro. What is that Metro doing? He's just hanging.
That's a local. They're making a stop there. So see how those two trains are pulling in together. So the other one stays put to prevent the passengers from crossing over the towpaths to the other side. That means that by them staying put, that other train can pull in before they pull out. Otherwise, that other train has to be prepared to stop. So that's smart. But these guys are real deal passenger railroaders. They go hard. They fly in here, lots of air and 79 mile an hour, big trains, 10, 12 cars.
A lot of people on those trains, man.
And
they're
that
full.
That train is packed. This one, there would be a standing room train, 12 cars long. I've ridden those. They would always come out of track 2 and track 4 in Chicago. They'd be so big that the last 2 cars in the engine would actually be hanging out into the next track.
Nuts.
And Chicago commuters it's a whole nother deal, man. They want their train on time and they want it moving. They don't need amenities. They don't want food or beer.
They're trying to get to the burbs.
They want to get home. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to get home. That what is that? 1500. So that would be classified as probably a Jeep 38, Jeep 39, or a 28-2.
That's a really
or
good looking engine.
28M. Very unique. It's really hard. I don't think there's any company that makes that designation model, because if you look, it would be technically like a Jeep 38 because it has the 2 radiator fans on the back. It would probably be classified as a 28M now because it's upgraded. And then it's got a 40-2 that I think I saw.
Yep.
So, you have a general purpose and a special duty engine mixed together, which is great for switching because they're still smaller in weight. They can still go into some of the siding or some of the spurs and do what they got to do, even though they're right now looks to be operating a yard.
See, I always used to like to sit in these cab cars.
Yeah.
Because of how big those windows were. And that's a Metra-owned cab car. So it's kind of interesting. The Metra is operated by Metra itself, and then Union Pacific and BNSF. And then obviously before that would have been Chicago Northwestern and Burlington Northern.
Now, see, when I was just talking about Jeep 38-2s, those are actual Jeep 38-2s with upgraded dynamic brake.
Let's get a shout out on those color position signals. So it's showing red, but if those were white lights, that would be still showing stop, because if they're at a 90-degree angle like that means stop.
So we need to do an episode on signal reading.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. This a CSX. What is that? A -8?
It looks like an AC 6000.
No.
Yeah, you're right. It's not.
No, that's an AC 4400.
Yeah.
You can tell because of the trucks. If you look, they have the high adhesion trucks, and then the one behind it is also
never really
a
a fan of that
4400.
paint scheme, though.
Yeah, never. I actually have a unit that's in that paint scheme. I have a 38-2. Hang on, where is it? Boom, right here.
Wow.
500. Bam. Never really.
That's old school.
It is, but it never really caught my eye. I always thought that this felt like a 1990s house that you walked into that had the shitty wallpaper and the fake palm trees. All right, what are we looking at? That's the is that the L train or what?
That's the L. Yep. And coming up,
I mean, we're on the ground, but
this is looking like a brand new Gevo. The 8000 series would be Gevos. Looking good.
Union Pacific single unit because it's so flat out there.
Yep.
With a intermodal train, we were just talking about that. The well cars.
This looks like it's freshly delivered. Look at the plow barely has any dirt on it. Wow.
When did they change the door? The Dash 9 and AC 4400 series from the late 90s. I mean, from the 90s actually, all the way up until the early 2000s. The door was on the right side. Or what would that be, the conductor side of the cab. And then somewhere along the line, when they went to the Gevos, they changed over to, so it'd be the left side, sorry. Door was on the left side. And then they changed it over to the right side of the cab. Depends on how you're looking at the train. If you're looking at the train and you're looking at the nose standing outside the locomotive, the door on the Dash 9s was on the right.
Right.
And then somewhere along the line, they changed it over to the left. I didn't really even notice that until
it broke down. L trains break down too.
Look at that. What is that? 2. That only looks like 2 cars. How do they designate those 2? Ooh, here's a nice little reefer train.
This looks like the salad bowl.
It's a lot of lettuce coming from...
the super fruit, my bad. The super fruit.
A lot of lettuce and fruit coming from the San Joaquin Valley and...
Washington.
Really?
The train would get together. I don't remember where I think it was somewhere in Nebraska.
A lot of lettuce comes out of... Like, the lettuce that they're pulling on those trains comes out of the Yuma district from El Centro.
Yeah, so this is a cool-looking CNW engine. It's got that gong bell, which is nothing more than just a grade crossing light, or a grade crossing bell. Sure sounds like it too, and we must be at Proviso, judging by. This is what I'm looking at. And I don't even really need to see around me here. Proviso is Chicago's largest yard, and big classification yard, big a former CNW yard. and their main line that goes between Chicago and Clinton, Iowa. And I worked with a lot of guys in Chicago who were ex-UP, who came to work for Amtrak, who ran right out of this yard and west to Clinton, Iowa. And the stories these guys would tell me were, it's insane. Just Chicago railroading and just it's a very busy railroad. Lots
there's
of trains.
a lot of diamonds there, tons of yards. You said BNSF has 3 yards. How many does UP have? At least
4
2
or 5. Because you remember it was Global 1, Global 2.
Okay.
Proviso.
And then Norfolk Southern also has.
Well, they got 55th
They own
Street
so much.
and Calumet.
Didn't you say that they own a lot of trackage rights there too?
There is a lot of Chicago there's lots of trackage rights between all the railroads.
Now, because we're talking about rolling stock, you can see on this train, what would this be called? Like just general freight? You got a tank car there. You got what looks to be a reefer. You got what was that after it? Anyways.
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything in here.
What is this here? It looks like an Amtrak train. You ever drive one of these?
Yeah.
What is that, P-42?
This looks like, Evan, you know what? I'm going to go on a limb and say this is the city of New Orleans right here. Because it's a P-42-23, and then there's no bag car, and that train kind of ran without any bag cars.
And why is that?
I don't know. It was just kind of weird how they did it. But it was always a big cut of superliners like so. But I could be wrong,
Look at it going over that crossing. Look at that bump.
Oh, yeah.
Does that ride easy, though? Like when you're driving those things? There's no cab car on it.
No. So it would be a little, the superliners are the most comfortable cars Pullman ever created, and they are very, very smooth and very comfortable. I'm sure you were still jumping up and down.
All right, what do we see in here?
Bridgeport actually operated on this track. At a Halstead, yep. I know exactly where this is.
What kind of engine is that? What do you think?
Something small.
I'm willing to bet it is a SD40.
Yeah,
SD40.
Or this, you know what? the J, as they call it in Chicago. This would be an SD38.
Ooh, look at that. It's got the two. Okay, so a way you could tell the difference between a 38 and a 40 is, first of all, the SD series has 6 axles, 12 wheels, however you want to look at it. But you could tell immediately if it's an SD40, generally it's going to have 3 radiator fans at the back. There'll be 3. 38 or 38-2, some of them didn't have all of them eventually got upgraded to -2 equipment, which was was it the computer control system or the throttle control system, the -2 series. It's an upgrade pretty much. But if you look at this 38-2, this is one of the ones with the smaller fuel tank. And I think Scale Trains, I know Cato does a 38-2 series. Athearn did one too.
Yes, I remember the Cato ones.
I had a Cato 38-2 in UPY. And I only had it for like a month, and it got stolen. Remember we were talking about my shit getting stolen?
Yeah.
I want to do a UPY, like a yard service, because I was seeing so many of them because I had just moved to L.A. I had spent so much time in Burbank, and I didn't ever see him out there. The only time I saw him was out at, was it Colton?
Yep.
And so when I'd go rail fan out there, but still, it was really cool, all the UPY equipment. As in, why am I collecting this equipment? Because it just got stolen. But, that's a Jeep 38-2. You could tell it's the 2 radiator fans on the back. Really cool. What's the J again?
So the J stands for Joliet. So EJ&E is Elgin, Joliet, and Eastern, which has now been merged into CN. But they had a really cool yard down by Gary, Indiana, that I would pass by every day, and there was always a really hodgepodge of power. Not just EJ&E power or CN, but every railroad in Chicago would interchange with this EJ&E at this yard, and I can't remember what it's called. Someone's going to comment and say, Evan, you should have remembered. How do you know?
I want to put a bookmark in this video.
Yeah.
We need to come back to this video. We've done about 16 minutes into this video. We're chopping it up. You'll only see about maybe 5 or 6 minutes of it, and we'll kind of cut to certain clips. We thank you guys so much for tuning in to Railroads Rock Podcast. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot more of this, doing some YouTube eval foaming videos, I guess. We're going to go on location eventually. We have plans that we're still working out for this podcast, but thank you so much for tuning in to this first podcast. And that's all I got to really say, other than you could find it at Railroads Rock. We're getting all the registration stuff squared away for Spotify and all of the online podcast platforms through Buzzsprout, which is a great. If you're starting a podcast, use Buzzsprout. It's very user friendly. But other than that, you can follow me at Railroads and Rock and Roll on Instagram. You can follow Evan
on Instagram at Michigan Subdivision.
Other than that, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful month. Have fun out there. Be safe while you're out on the railroad foaming. If you're standing by tracks, play it cool. I don't think, you guys are used to it as engineers. You're used to the foamers, but the idiot foamers that stand a little too close, don't be one of those guys. Or girls. Anyways, having said that, my name is Timmy D. That's Evan Gerdes. And Evan, your next signal
is your most important.
We'll see you next time.